So now we're what? We're in the new year. This will be coming out in February. All right, so introduction. We got a little Sky Bunny with us today.
Welcome back, everybody.
Got Big Mark the Shark, the listing professor.
Yes, boom.
And then me, Gabriel, SoCal Properties Team. It's nice to see you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Is there anything you guys want to touch on that happened over the new year? Any updates? Anything, I don't know, things you're grateful for, you were seeing, or spending time with family? Anything of that nature?
Yeah, actually, this goes for you guys. I had probably the best holiday season in my life. I traveled to Kansas. My son goes to school out there. I spent a week out there. We went to a Chiefs game on the 50-yard line on the field.
Watched the Raiders win.
The Raiders won. That offense is horrible, but the Raiders did win. Absolutely. Yes. And it was a great experience. It was snowing. And we don't have that over here, so that was amazing. It was no material things that was given or received. It was just memories, just creating memories. And then with my girlfriend's family,
right?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And we were
a dad that's only a couple years older than you.
Whatever. But just we were matching
PJs.
That was all cool. I'm all into that. So, and she bought me this cologne, which is the new Dolce & Gabbana.
Good.
She calls it the sexy cologne, so I have it on now. So you guys, I'm heterosexual.
They no wonder Gabe was over here biting his lips.
Yeah.
Is that? I thought you were playing footsies with me. Is this guy?
No, it's this guy.
I think it's both of us. My feet aren't big enough to reach you over there. My legs aren't long enough.
What'd you do?
Best, for sure, but one of the best holiday seasons I had in recent memory. Went up north to see my mom's side of the family, which I haven't seen in during Christmas time in 3 years, 4 years. It had to be since I was up in Reno, so 4 or 5 years maybe even. Yeah, nice to see my uncle, my aunt, seeing some of my cousins. Seeing how much my little cousins have grown up makes me feel old, because I'm like at that age now where I thought you start to get old at, right? When I was in high school, I thought some of my age would be old, right? And I
still think that.
Yeah. And I'm just like, man, do adults really know anything? Like, because I'm still trying to figure shit out, find out, my place in the world, make my place in the world. So that's always that was a trip when I was up there. And then talking to my little cousins and giving them some life advice that maybe they're probably not thinking about. Don't like being that person usually, but to see where they're at in their life and for them to have some certain expectations or how the world should be, always politics always comes up, and giving them some life advice and like, hey, I was in your shoes just 10 years ago, right? And the world's a lot different than I thought it would be. So, yeah, that was nice. How about you, Sky Bunny?
It was good. Similar to you, went over to my grandparents' house, spent Christmas there. I think it's a trip to see how grown up we are now, because there's a huge age gap between my brothers and my cousins. I think my cousins are around 8, 9 years old.
Oh, yeah, they're super young.
Yeah. Me and my siblings are in our 20s. My cousin's going to be 20 this year. And then my little brother's 12. So it's just funny to see the dynamic of my family and how things are changing. Just like seeing I was once like, that 9-year-old begging to open presents.
Yeah.
And just weird seeing the way dynamics change. Like now it's like, I don't even care about presents. Like I just want to spend time with my family, play dominoes, play these games, stuff like that.
Yeah, the whole Bay it's just weird how the dynamic does change, where it's all about, creating memories. I don't care about material things, giving or receiving.
That's the maturity, right? That's becoming more mature, realizing what really matters in the world. Yeah, you're just starting to realize that, 7, 8 more years where you get my age, where it's like, it's even another step, right? And I'm sure it's going to be another step when I get to 35. So, yeah, great. That was a nice
and to top it off, real quick is, I had the best holiday season probably I ever had, and I was deathly sick the whole time.
Oh, I got pretty sick.
I got that flu that's going around.
Yeah, I got that Christmas Eve.
Dude,
it was
I was done, but it was still the greatest moments ever that I can remember.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So,
I didn't get sick, Some of us are just built different,
Yeah,
I don't get sick.
You know what?
It's because you're triple vax.
Yeah, he's a
triple
big vaccine advocate. Real quick, let's slide into business. So when we came in December, starting the year, the interest rate is attractive. They lowered it.
Correct.
They're talking about lowering it again multiple times in 2024. So going into 2024 now that we're in January, how is, because you guys are on the buyer side, how is it impacting the buyer side and their purchasing power and the buyer outlook? I said,
I can start by going just this past open house that we did in Lomita.
Right.
We did that open house about 2 or 3 weeks ago for 2 weeks in a row. And I think I had more parties come in this past weekend than I did.
Just one day.
Yeah, one day than the weekend combined, the 2 weekends combined before, which is interesting to see. Seemed like more serious buyers actually coming in. A few people that were browsing, but seems like more serious buyers coming back into the market.
And we did that open house right after Thanksgiving, right? It was right after Thanksgiving. So that's always a weird time of the year, right? I know we said that last year. People start to slow down. They're not so serious. That's the conversation that happens all the time. As far as the numbers go, 30-year fixed right now, we're at 6.74% for conventional. Right? FHA 6.15%. So, I mean, if we could get to below 5, or below 6%. Even if we get to 6.15 for a conventional loan by summertime, man, it's gonna be hot.
When is the we're not lenders here, by the way, we're on the real estate side. When are they supposed to convene regarding the Fed and the rate? Is it in March?
I don't know.
But all indications, everything's pointing this is election year that rate is going to come down. It's only going to help our real estate. But I also feel, and I told you this, I think it's temporary.
Right.
For this election year.
And if I'm not mistaken, too, last year at this time we had the same thing. Interest rates dropped. I think we're around high
last
sixes.
year interest rates were high.
No, at the beginning of the year they dropped shortly for a short period of time, and everyone thought that we were going to have a killer year, and then they skyrocketed.
They skyrocketed.
So
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it skyrocketed we're talking. Was it 3 or 4 points? I mean,
it was a lot.
It was a lot, and it was
like that.
Yeah, and the market felt the ramifications of that. Anything that has to go up or down, it should be in a gradual fashion,
right? To
let the market adjust. But yeah, that was pretty crazy.
I think the only thing that's going to help the market right now is, because interest rates, having lower interest rates is great, right? But if there's no inventory on the market, then we're just going to see what we saw during the pandemic. Where there was 20, 30, 40 offers on the property. That doesn't help buyers out, right? That doesn't at all. That only helps the sellers out. So what we need is those interest rates to drop so that sellers are willing to let go of their properties and find another property.
Well, I mean, you have sellers that purchased during COVID with 3.5% interest rates compared to a 5% where they have to sell then buy again. I don't know what that magic number would be to get people back into the market and start selling, bring inventory up, and have some of those buyers take advantage of it?
It would all have to be determined on when they bought, how much equity they've got. I mean, you guys know I just went on a listing appointment last Thursday. He bought in 2021. I think that was right when the restrictions started coming. They were forcing us to...
Restrictions, or they were lifting them?
I can't remember. I think it was right before they were shutting everything down, right?
Okay.
I can't recall exactly, but it was February, beginning of the year 2021. So I think it was right when things are starting to heat up. So went on the listing appointment. He has a minimum of $120,000 equity gained within the past few years. So it determines on that factor, on how much equity they have gained and what do they want to do with that equity, right? Do they want to stay in the same area and just, kind of make a lateral move? It's not really going to make sense, right? If they want to downsize, go into a smaller home, I think yes, even if they're not getting that 3.5% interest rate, but if they want to downsize and maybe the rates are 5.5 to 5.8, I think it would make sense for them, right? Because they could buy down the rate if it makes sense. They'll put a large down payment on. They would have maybe some cash reserves on the side. I think it all depends on their specific situation. If they're moving out of the state, for sure it's going to make sense. Absolutely. They're moving out of state. And I think that we're seeing that. We're probably going to see that again this year where more people move out of California than move in. I think that trend is going to continue. So that's going to help a lot because that not only puts a property on the market, they're not going to take up a property when they go ahead and buy in California again. So that's going to actually put some inventory. That's an important equation. A lot of sellers that sell in California and buy in the same area in California, that's a net gain. I mean, that's not a gain, right? It's you gain a listing, but they also take a listing off the board. So it's not necessarily helping inventory in the long run because they're going to take a home off the market. But if they move out of the state, then it would put a home on the market that they won't take up when they buy in California.
So the question is you went to that listing appointment with your client. You sold him in 2021. What's his interest rate right now?
His interest rate, I'm not sure.
Guesstimate 2021.
I would say low threes.
Okay.
Low threes.
So low threes. So,
very low threes.
Okay. So in today's climate, we're in 2024. He has a 3-point-something interest rate. Today's interest rate is we're at 6.1, FHA 6.7. Regarding selling his house, and he's going to do a second leg, correct?
Yes, he's going to buy an up-leg property.
He's going to buy an up-leg property. So and he already got approved, right?
He's submitting documents. He should have submitted documents yesterday.
But he's aware of what the interest rate is, correct?
Correct.
So was there any objections to that, going from this interest rate to this interest rate, which is almost double?
Right.
It's almost double. Let's be frank here. So how was that situation, and how did the seller take that?
So this is how I handled that potential problem. Before I left the appointment, I said, I presented numbers to you. I gave you comps. I think we could sell for this price. You have about a minimum of this much, that you would net, right? I think you could get potentially this, but a minimum of 120. I think we could probably squeeze 140, maybe even $150,000 of net proceeds out of that. I told them, but this whole conversation all depends on you getting pre-approved, and if that loan makes sense for you, because interest rates are higher, like you said. And we have to make sure that you can actually qualify for the up-leg property, because you want to move into a more expensive area, about $100,000, $150,000 more than what your current property value is worth right now. And if you can't afford that, then it doesn't make sense for you to move, right? But if you can, then we could go ahead and pull the trigger, because San Fernando Valley is where he grew up. He's just out of the way. He said, it was great for COVID, staying indoors. He said if it was just for him, he'd probably keep the property, but his parents, he has 2 retired parents that live with him, and he takes care of them. So he has to drive them up to San Fernando Valley all the time to go visit family, go do things. And it's not economical for him to do that consistently, take days off of work and whatnot.
It's a drive, yeah.
So that was the whole reasoning or motivation for him wanting to sell. As soon as I got done with the listing appointment, I called up Big Surge. Hey, I got a buyer for you. We're going to sell, probably a minimum of $120,000 net proceeds, and then we're going to use that to go purchase the next up-leg property. He wants to go somewhere in San Fernando Valley. He told me less than $1 million, and we settled in. After he spoke with Sergio called me like 20 minutes after he got done speaking with him, and he said he easily qualifies for over $900,000. So San Fernando Valley is not a problem. That also helped because he got a couple of raises in the past couple of years. So I don't think if he got those couple of raises, he would be making this move as well. So your finances depend. Your income level also depends as well in helping motivate him to get to the next step. But long story short, the reason or the big objection was getting him pre-qualified with the lender, making sure all the numbers make sense, because that's what the close was, right? He was cool with the property value. He wanted to move. Motivation was there. It was just, does that next loan make sense? And that's where, a lender, having a team, someone that you trust to close a deal. Not close a deal, but help walk a client through and get over any potential hurdles they may have, find solutions to get to the next step.
Okay. That's good. So hopefully that continues to trend in that direction overall with the market. And it's advantageous because right now we're still at record lows in inventory, and hopefully,
correct.
Yeah. Fortunately for us, we have a lot of listings coming on the market.
Yeah,
a lot. So
it happens every year, though, right? As soon as the new year starts. Yeah. So I'm sure you could say that your personal experience. We should be with the conversations you're having with your clients, the better interest rates. They're more excited for sure about this
you know
next
what?
year.
I deal with majority investors, and they just care about the bottom line,
Right.
and what they can get. So if they see the interest rate going lower, that only is going to entice them to continually purchase more property to rehab, to resell. So
because they're more involved than a regular mom and dad buyer, because they have multiple properties, multiple investments, so they're far more in tune, closer to ground level to the actual market and what we're seeing in our hyper local area.
Right.
So they're even more excited, I'm sure, than they were last year at this time.
Oh, it's they're very optimistic because when the rate did reach over 8%, we got to 8.2. It was like everyone was looking doom and gloom.
Listings slowed up. We had no open houses for a couple weeks there, like 2 or 3 weekends in a row.
Oh my God! And just seeing how the market's changed. You said open house. Actually, that's a Lomita property. Hopefully that I don't put it in escrow so you guys can do another open house over there. Everyone's getting so much activity over there. It's crazy. So regarding open houses and the sentiment of buyers, what do you find with the buyers that are going to the open house? Is it a little bit different now than it was, say, when the rate was a lot higher? Are they more motivated? What is your take on that?
Well, I just feel like the traffic is better than it was before. People come in, they were motivated before, but I feel like they see these interest rates now. They're almost excited. I had people come into the open house, say everything looked clean, blah, 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 go on, and then say, oh, we're just looking. That was the majority of the people that walked in.
In and out, right?
In and out.
Yeah.
And then I say, oh, you're done looking already? Trying to bring them back in, keep them in, but that's pretty much what the gist of the open house was.
We got more properties that we're going to be listing. Come back in. Sign my
Sign here, sign here.
Sign in, please.
We have properties like this that come on
We
market
got
all the
properties all the
time.
time that come on.
Yeah.
Come on, come back in here. Yeah.
I think the weather affected that, because it was way more windy on your day than it was mine, and I had signs. I have a couple of the lawn signs that are trashed. Like, they're just middle ripped up out of the ground. We had a sign thief. Watch your guys' signs. There are sign thieves out there.
They want to see Mark's face, obviously.
I forgot to check Lomita City yesterday, so I'll do that today and see if.
Yeah, check the Lomita. They probably picked them up.
Yeah.
So if we can get those, that would be great.
Always check the city and see if you could do open houses and have open house signs out.
This is the first time, because there's been multiple houses in there, but this is the first time. But their cities are known to pick up.
Yeah. Well, we had the bum that took one at one time and
in LA.
Sharpied out everything. Yeah. So.
He drew a face on Mark.
Yeah.
Drew some glasses on him.
Yeah. I've had some weird things drawn on my face on
a mustache.
What are your guys' predictions for this year? Are we going to have more sales numbers wise than we did last year? What do you think of home prices? Are they trending up? Are they going to go up? Are they going to stay steady? Marginal gains or decline? What are you guys' predictions for this new year?
I mean, from what I've seen, looking at listings on the MLS, everything from expired, canceled, new listings, even going to film, I feel like prices have stayed pretty steady, especially in this area. Back where I live in Los Angeles, I feel like prices just continue to go up.
Okay.
I was looking at a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, like 1.5, and I was like, wow, 1.5 for this.
Crazy.
Even fixer-uppers, like you could buy a nice $900,000 house over here in Long Beach down the street.
Yeah, you can.
You go to where I live in Highland Park, fixer-upper is $900,000. I'm like, wow.
Is Highland Park a nicer area than Long Beach?
I would say so. It has amenities, Figueroa Street, York Boulevard.
Which part of Figueroa Street are we talking about over here? Are we talking about Mark's Figueroa Street? Or,
No, not Mark's Figueroa Street.
When I get my listings on Figueroa, there's ladies of the night.
Yeah.
But actually,
no,
ladies of the day.
They start at 8 a.m.
Yeah, ladies of the day.
We'll be there setting up open house signs at 8 a.m. when they start their day. Man, hey, they got them hustling them though. I respect it.
Just giving you guys a heads up. The farther north you go on Figueroa Street, the nicer it gets. I promise you.
Yeah. My opinion of the market. Well, the property. Let's speak about that property on Lomita. I had it listed for sale in November.
Right.
And then went into December, then took it off the market. Then I put it back on the market, and I already have 2 offers.
Yeah.
So if that doesn't give you indication where the market is going, I think the market is going to be trending up as the rate comes down. I think more buyers are going to come into the market. I think inventory is going to be relatively low until you get that magic number where it's going to push those people with the prevailing lower rate to sell.
Right.
So as the buyer agent, because competition is competition is going to be great because there's going to be lower inventory. You just got to, and I tell this to you guys, and I stress it, you make relationships with everyone in the office, out the office, because your reputation is going to precede you.
Right.
Always.
Right.
100%. And I said this on the previous one: is if I've done business, I have bad experience, I'm not going to accept an offer from you.
Right. Absolutely.
Straight up. So just make sure those relationships are strong, because I think inventory is going to be low until we get that magic number.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of buyers. Supply demand.
My predictions are Dodgers are going to win the World Series. Shohei Ohtani.
I mean, year after year.
Shohei
Ohtani.
Ohtani.
They have
4
to.
years.
On paper,
Hey.
they have to.
Hey, Yamamoto.
But you don't win the
And
win the game on paper.
the Chargers are going to make the playoffs next year. It's going to get Harbaugh. Michigan just won the national championship last night.
You're going to give me a stroke.
I think
have a stroke
Harbaugh
right now.
is going to the NFL. I think he's going to the Chargers. They're going to make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win anything, but I think that's where he's going.
Let's go Bama.
As far as my predictions, I like to look at numbers. I want to have my predictions based on where we're trending. I know predictions are basically, worth salt. They're not worth much, right? But it looks like total sales home forecast for keeping current matters. Total sales, we're looking about the same. Maybe marginal gains in total homes sold.
In regards to last year.
In regards to 2023, yeah. Where agents should be happy is that there's a lot of agents that left the market last year. So there should be bigger slices of the pie for us agents to pick up, the ones that are committed to staying in, right? Make sure you guys as agent is serious about this and not a fair weather fan of real estate. You're not going to get a good agent when you find someone like that. But I think total sales are probably going to stay the same. I think home prices are going to slightly increase. Home forecast, average national looks like we're going to increase 1.5%. That's a lot of the average. NAR is at increased 0.7%. MBA says we're going to have a slightly smaller gain at 1.1% as we did last year. And then Fannie Mae is way down. 2023, it was 6.7% prediction, and then or 6.7% gain. They're expecting 2024 to have a 2.8% gain, right? So that's a huge drop off on their potential predictions in this next year. And I think again that all hinges on the rate and also combined with the inventory we're seeing on the market, like you were saying. So it all depends on if that next move for sellers really does make sense for them. And that's where having good conversations, learning human behavior so we can start building better relationships with people instead of asking the same old questions. Are you interested in selling? Are you interested in selling? Like, you're coming off as some needy salesman that, is only in it for the paycheck, right? Like, well, what makes sense about the sale? Why would you even consider selling when you have such a great home? Why are you even attempting to even think?
Or even what's holding you
So
up.
my line doesn't work. Hey, what's up?
Sometimes.
Hey, what's up?
Sometimes.
But you hear me, that's
Yeah.
what I say to my client.
Yeah.
People just
Hey,
vibe
what's up?
with
How
it.
you doing? What's going on?
Yeah, when you sold 20 homes for them already, then it works.
Hey, what's up? Perfect line. Icebreaker. Perfect.
Yeah.
But that's a true story, but go ahead.
Yeah. Market predictions looks like we're hopefully, like I said, we had some pretty positive momentum going into 2023 when interest rates dropped slightly and they skyrocketed. Everyone knows. Don't want to be a broken record here, but it's not off the table, right? But it looks like we're trending in the right direction. And this reminds me of the conversation I had with someone at the open house in Lomita on Sunday. This guy was saying, "Oh, my son doesn't think it's a good time to buy right now. He thinks it'll be better later in the year because it'll be a buyer's market." And I go, "How do you mean a buyer's market?" He goes, "Oh, he thinks home prices are going to drop." I'm like, "Well, how are they going to drop?" And he goes, "Well, homes are overpriced." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not saying that homes aren't overpriced, but if interest rates drop like they are dropping, what do you think that's going to do to demand for property?" He goes, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, interest rates drop, that improves people's affordability. If people's affordability goes up, do you think that's going to bring more buyers in the market or less?"
A buyer's market.
And then it's going to bring more buyers in the market, more demand for property, right? Which means it's going to be even more of a seller's market than it was last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
Because they're going to be able to dictate the terms. Unless they want to move. Right. Unless a majority of them want to move, we have more inventory in the market, then it'll be more even.
So changing gears here. So going into 2024, what are some of your goals for 2024? What do you want to accomplish? Business, personal. I don't believe in New Year's resolutions.
Right. Neither do I.
If I get a New Year, it's like I'm gonna do it now. Why
Correct.
wait? I don't believe in that. So I'm not giving you New Year's. But what do you want to accomplish in 2024? No New Year's resolutions, none of that shit. What do you want to accomplish in 2024?
Well, let's do it here. Let's ask the question we should ask before that. What was our biggest mistakes that's going to make that is going to help shape that's going to help shape our 2024 that we got to improve on? For me, I kind of took my foot off the pedal towards the end of the year when things were getting pretty rough.
Did you get demotivated?
I did, 100%. You know,
Did?
Absolutely.
Back in like, when was it? November, October?
No, I would say a little bit before that. I would say September.
September?
I started to get pretty.
Did you question yourself?
I did every single day. I was wondering if I was doing the right thing. Cause I'm still green, right? And I'm still new to this. I haven't been in the market for 20-something years, right? But I have the hunger to learn, and I have the hunger to learn and to improve myself and get better. Educate myself about the market, how to actually help people, how to ask better questions, right? To actually be of service to people. That's what my goal is. And I took my foot off the pedal because I was questioning myself. I wasn't motivated. I just wasn't seeing the fruits of my labor yet. I was making less calls. I realized that when I started tracking my numbers around the end of November and the beginning of December. After Thanksgiving, I started to realize that, like, hey, I took my foot off the gas. I wasn't making all my calls I should have made. I got a little bit lackadaisical on the videos, right, the content creation, and I let the negative thoughts control me, and that was one of my biggest mistakes, right? Going into the new year with far more momentum than I even did last year, right? And I think it's because I was, at least for the most part of the year, was working diligently and still coming in every single day with the goal of, hey, let me find someone I could possibly help, right? Let's see if we could find.
That's the right attitude to have.
Right. But obviously, it wasn't consistent throughout the entire year. So that's my goal, is to actually stay consistent, track what I want to track what I care about, right? How many calls am I making a day? What am I doing to improve my skills? Either, like I said, educating myself on the market, finding avenues or routes to help my clients get to where they want to go with real estate. Because it's not just about selling or helping them buy a home. It's like, what are we accomplishing? You know, what are your hopes and dreams? How could I make that a reality? Right? That's what we're doing at the end of the day. Whether it's your investors, right? Their hopes and dreams is, you know, to be real estate moguls, gurus, right? That's their hopes and dreams, and you're doing that with your experience, selling your properties for top dollar. Right? I don't work with investors, work with mom and pop, so I'm trying to see how can I help them get into a better position with their real estate goals, finding an upgrade, getting them to their first home. Maybe they want to leave California, they want to downsize, whatever that may be. So that's my big goal, is just to stay consistent, track what I need to track, so that I actually see where I'm lagging, and I could tell myself, hey, I'm lagging here, so you got to step it up, right? That's my biggest mistake, and that's my goal, right? Start tracking, get serious on my newsletter, for long form content, YouTube page, right? So I could start even helping broader people, talking more about the market, and specifically why you should live here instead of there, what makes this good for this group of people, not that group of people, like a younger generation or older generation, right? Doing things like that to be of service to my community in the terms of real estate. That was a long answer. I apologize.
That was great. That was a great answer.
Thank you.
For me, I feel like, going back to the last year, I feel like my biggest, not mistake, but what I could have done better on was opening up more, and I would say not being so shelled, I'm not closed-minded, because I was obviously learning, taking the skills in that you bring in, you have, but opening up, expanding, also building those relationships with people in the office. I feel like I could have done that better earlier in the year. I definitely picked it up that last part of the year, but I feel like I could have done that earlier in order to grow as an agent, grow as a person, things like that. So I feel like even in open houses, beginning of the year from the end of the year was a big difference.
Yeah.
Which I feel like was an accomplishment, but just little things like that. And, I would say a goal in 2024 would be more outgoing. Somebody comes into the office that I don't know, obviously approaching them, introducing myself, build those relationships that Mark obviously talks about.
Mm-hmm. Good. For me, it's so I'm in the business, and I have to juggle two, in the business and on the business, which are two different animals, and just really spending enough time equally on both to grow the business, but also I have to work my book of business on top of it. So it's a juggling act, and really not just focusing on my production, but also focusing it on, you know, the team to increase their production. That I want to do more of, working on the business instead of in the business. One. Number two is I like the smaller team. I've had a team of 10, I've had a team of 8.
You have a team of 10?
Yeah, before you, it was a team of 10, but it was just, all it takes is one bad seed and it just ruins everything.
Kitty cat!
Yeah. But it takes one bad seed to just ruin everything. I just like a smaller, tight-knit team, and just, and ultimately what the goal is, all of us to be top producers and just have it just nice and tight. And that's how I want to run it. So learning that, not growing the team with body-wise, but really growing the team in production-wise,
right,
is what I want to focus on. So more on the business, I learned. That's business. Personal, towards the end of the year, I did the show. I enjoy living my life in detail and on a schedule, and a little bit of suffering. Going without, like for me, I enjoy it because I savor those moments when I do have. And truly, that's freaking amazing. And ultimately, you know, this is the longest part of my life that I went out without seeing my son, which has probably been 4 months. And when I really see him, it's like, dude, not saying I want to be away from my son. It's like, you just savor those damn moments, man.
Yeah, that must have been rough.
Yeah, no, it was rough. I mean, I 2023 was really hard in the beginning because my best friend left, and then I had to really find myself and adjust. And I think I came full circle with that. Just really now, and what I've also learned more than any business or anything is really creating everlasting memories. I know it sounds cliche, but just creating the memories, because they're going to last you forever. Where material things are going to get old, they're going to go away, you're going to forget about them. Those you won't.
When you see your son, do you see like a difference in him, like from the beginning of 2023
Dude,
to now?
What you were just saying, when I mentioned I played Santa Claus and he knew it was me, he's a little guy, he's just waiting to open presents. It's different, as you saw with your nieces and nephews. That's where you were.
Yeah.
That's where you was not so long ago. So
yeah,
just really like the age and just the growing up, the maturity in life. It's just like you really need to like take in these moments and savor these. But really, that's what I'm really going to be focusing on a lot in 2024, is really not taking anything for granted and really remembering these memories and continue.
It's so easy just to get caught up in the day-to-day, because I don't know, I feel like as I've gotten older, the faster time goes.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
say after I graduated high school, time is just going like that.
It goes by like that.
And I felt the time I went through high school was like really slow, but the time I went to college was way faster.
Yep.
And the 4 years after college have been way faster than that. So it's just like crazy how fast things go when you're just focused on, your day-to-day life, and you're not, like you said, when you're a kid and you're with your parents or your brothers and sisters, you take that for granted because you think they're always going to be there, right? Because they're there every single day. And then when you're away from that and you move out of that, when you move out of your parents' house, you know what I'm talking about, you go like that, you're like, oh, it's been like 6 months since I've actually visited my mom or something like that. Yeah. That's how it was with me when I went up, and I'm like, it's been like 3 or 4 years since I saw my cousins. Like, this is crazy. Like, that shouldn't happen. Like,
Those
really.
are like your brothers. She had no brothers.
Exactly. My cousin Quinn, he's the closest thing I have to a brother. We lived with each other multiple times, spent summers with each other like every single year growing up. My auntie's my second mom. She practically, raised me large portions of my life being in the summer blocks, and I had summer school. And it's just, that shouldn't happen, right? Because I love my cousins and my family. And, we say that we love them, right? But are we really doing everything we can to spend time with them instead of being focused on us and what we want, right?
You know what? It's funny thing you say that. It's funny thing you say that because sometimes we'll say things. And I don't want to make this about but my relationship is like, you've been in relationships. Maybe you haven't, but I know you have, where you say, "Oh, I love you." But being in a relationship when you're with someone that doesn't have to tell you it, they show it to you every damn day, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. When you can just show it without even saying it because you already know it. They don't gotta tell you how much they miss you, love you, this or this or this, because they show it every damn day. Amazing.
Yeah,
little koala. Little koala bear.
It shows it to me every day. What am I going to say?
Does Stephanie do that to you?
What's that? What did you say?
We're clipping that.
I didn't want to name drop, but I had to.
Oh.
We're clipping that.
Got you. So we went over 2023, what we learned, what we want to create. So you got mine, you got Gabe's, you got Adrian. So 2024, what are the goals? What do you want to accomplish in 2024?
I want to do 24 transactions. That's my goal.
24 transactions.
2 a month.
2020. Is there a correlation?
I was just thinking twice a month. If I could do, help someone buy or sell twice a month, that would go a long way. I could reinvest in my business. The biggest thing I want to do for this next Christmas for myself is I want to invest in Jeremy Lee Miner's
Selling.
his human behavior course, NEPQ, neuro-emotional, something questions.
It's NEP, right?
No, NEPQ.
NEPQ.
He's just
That's the black book, right?
I heard neuro-linguistic, or is it?
maybe I can't.
Whatever. But yeah.
Anyways, that or do Chris Voss's Black Swan Group. I know I paid his course before, and that wasn't cheap, but maybe going the next step up and getting the next higher package, because that was very helpful for me as well.
Right.
At the end of the year, just buy something for myself, for at least my skills to help me with negotiating on behalf of my clients, because that's what really matters at the end of the day. And then investing more in the business items, right? Cards, some open house signs.
No, dude, use my picture, bro.
Right.
Keep on throwing my picture out there, guys.
Yeah, doing stuff like that, investing in the business, getting some of that money, shoveling it back into the business, heavy, hard. Like, burn the boats, throw money into the business, throw money, invest in myself, so they could actually help my clients better.
Bet on yourself.
Yeah, that's the big goal for 2024.
Gotcha.
Personal, do a couple BJJ competitions. I did 2 last year, 2 or 3.
What belt are you?
Last year I competed
Rainbow.
I competed twice at blue and then once at purple. So I'm a purple belt right now. If I could get 3 or 4 competitions in this year, I plan on being way busier in business. So I don't want to overextend myself with this and that in business, because that's my side stuff, right? If I get 4 competitions in at purple, that would make me happy. Place a couple times. That's all I really care about. I just want to place, honestly. And every single time I go to a competition, I'm like, man, if I could just place, I'll be happy, right? I get close, so it is what it is. I placed all of them last year, so that was nice. But do a couple of those. Be intentional with what I say. Like, sitting there, we say we love people, but we're doing what we can to actually show that, right? Going up to visit my mom was great. Spending some quality time with her, staying with her. I realized one thing I realized was that a lot of people don't have that, right? I have a cousin who, it's like his mom didn't want him, his dad didn't want him, and it's not, he's not a drug addict, nothing wrong with him. So that's like, dude, how did you do that, right? People that are like born in a situation like that where like your mom and your dad don't want to be there for you, they don't care about you, they just leave you wherever. They don't show that they want to be in your life. Like you could end up really jacked up, like really jacked up. And he's a law-abiding citizen, right? So I mean, he doesn't really talk to us anymore. So I don't know I do not want to say that I know why he did it or why he doesn't talk to my grandma or us anymore. If we just are too painful for him because we're part of his family to be involved with, and that brings up bad memories, then more power to him. I wish she would reach out, but realizing that I have a mom that like cares about me the way that she does is, like you said, my mom would do anything for me. She doesn't have to tell me she loves me, right? She does all the time. It gets annoying, but
that's a parent thing, bro.
Right?
You hear me all the time at the end of the conversation with my son.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a click. Sometimes I love you too.
Yeah, but like she just. I know that she'll do anything for me, still to this day. Like, and I know not everyone has that, and that's so special. My dad being my life, my dad, building that relationship with him too. Conversations that we have. And we got in like an argument before we went to ASU. We graduated from ASU a month ago now.
About a month ago.
Month or two ago, and we got in an argument before we left because his girlfriend has kids. And they were running late to the airport, right? We're waiting, like, hey, we got to go to the airport. I know you got shit to do with your kids, but like, you know that your kids are always like this and you're going to run behind. How about you leave earlier next time? Because my dad always runs late. Dude always runs late. And it bugs me. You know me, I'm here early. I like to be early. So that bugs me. And I tell him, I'm like, can you guys plan better next time? And he like flips out on me, right? In the driveway. In front of all the family, right? And then, so we don't talk when we get dropped off the airport. We go our separate ways. We meet up at the gate, right? And then he sits down next to me after I got my coffee. And I just like, I'm there working, right, on an offer, talking to Tony in my escrow. And after I get done, I put everything away. I look at my dad, I'm like, hey, you know what? I don't appreciate, like, how you handled that earlier. It made me feel like you're belittling me, yelling at me, getting angry. I know that may not be your intention. Trying to use these negotiating skills, right, that I've read, right, and listen.
Did I mind?
So he was in the car, he was yelling at you?
No, it was in the driveway. But yeah, right before we left to the airport.
Okay. After you made that comment.
Exactly. Okay, I'm like, hey, can we like leave earlier?
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't appreciate how you made an offhanded comment like that. Like, Debbie has kids, and we run late at times. I'm like, yeah, no, I completely understand that, but figuring that we have to get to the airport, my mind is like, that the kids are going to make you run late. How about you leave that much earlier? Right? Give yourself a cushion. Because the kids are going to make you run late. They're kids. Of course they are, right? Duh. And you run late anyway. So you should just say, hey, let's not do that. And then I told him, like, when you do that and you're late to things, when you're late to our lunches or whatever, it makes me feel like my time doesn't matter.
Yep.
And that makes me feel like I don't matter. And then he told me, he's like, son, don't ever feel that way. You're the most important thing in the world to me. I never take for granted our time. So don't ever feel that way. I know I may be late, but there's times you're late too. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to point the finger. I know I'm late. I have my mistakes. I'm just telling you how I feel so that maybe you can understand where I'm coming from. He goes, that's fine. We can agree to disagree on some things. But don't ever second guess that I take your time for granted, because I don't. I know every single time I have with you is it's a blessing, and it means the world to me. So I was like, okay, that was like one of the most like deep conversations me and my dad have had, in a long time. You created
a memory, you'll never forget it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was at the airport, and his girlfriend's like, Gabriel, it's my fault. I'm like, Debbie, can you like stop? Like, I'm trying to have a conversation with my dad right now. Like, it's not your fault. I was like, I'm not trying to be rude, but she's
like too nice.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm like, is this a conversation? It's not you, Debbie. It's not the kids. Yeah. It's just, it's a recurring thing that happens with my dad. He seems to be late, right? And so that was really special. I forgot why I brought up that story, but having parents like that are important.
And then we talked about showing
Yeah, love.
Showing without even saying it because you know, like you explained with your mom.
Yeah.
Good.
Goals for 2024.
Business.
Obviously, do more business. Bring value to the team. Bring more value to the team, I should say. Read more books that are going to help me grow my business and grow mentally. And for my physical goals, I would say
Personal? Personal.
I was thinking physical.
I want to get a sex change. I want to change my identity.
I said physical because my personal goals are physical.
Okay.
So in regards to my personal goals, I would say we talk about this all the time, taking my food more seriously, eating more. I've been working out consistently through the holidays and everything. So I think my food would just take it to the next level. I've been running, so I feel like running a marathon maybe midway through the year would be ideal. Because I really haven't pushed myself physically since I stopped playing football. That was also mental too. So I think it'll take me through that physical and mental pain that I felt before. So.
And you have a girlfriend too, right?
Yeah, I do.
What's her name?
Her name is Brianna.
Brianna. We're gonna meet her.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna meet her.
Did you have your show
20th.
before the last time we did the podcast? Or was that
before.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that was before.
All right.
All right.
So you did.
Go ahead.
So you weren't in here all skinny, all scrunched up.
He was.
He was, or
Weren't you still skinny? Yeah.
Right. I was all sucked up. Last podcast, I was right before my show. I was all sucked up.
Yeah, it was right before the show,
Right
huh?
before I lost 40 pounds.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't remember.
We did it early December.
I don't
So
remember.
I'm sure that's one of your other goals to get a couple of those in.
Yeah, no. Business-wise, I want this to be my last year in production.
Damn.
You know, have a kick-ass year. Personally, probably I want to do over. A goal with me, personally, just for me, over 40 million would be nice. I've hit over 30. Last year I hit a little over 20, I think 22. So I would like to hit the 40 mark personally this year, and then hopefully go into next year as a full-time investor.
Gross commission, 40 million?
No, 40 million. No, 40 million volume. Yeah, I wish it.
He'll start selling himself in Beverly Hills.
Yes, yeah.
Sign up for my OnlyFans.
Can't throw a football with a perfect spiral.
Gabe said he's gonna trap people into AI OnlyFans girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Generate
was
some passive
crazy.
income.
That's not. So really want this to be my last year in production. Then I just want to work solely as an investor and on the business. A lot on the business than investor. Investor 20%, 80% on the business, growing that. Going into 2025. So really focusing, getting this my last year and going out with a big bang.
So what we got to do then is get some of our systems cleaned up. That's something I didn't add is resources for the team. Like, is it Tango? Is it called Tango?
Tango. Everything's on Tango.
Maybe make some videos of how are we going to submit an offer with the SoCal Properties template to get our, and how we should follow up with the agent, right? That way, if anyone comes in, that we could use those training videos and give them to them.
Yeah, I know that. And also just like, because I like to lead by example. If I see something, then I correct it. This is how I do it. I do that many times with the both of you. So yeah, maybe putting that down eventually, because eventually I do want to work mainly on the business and not in the business. So that's a really big goal of mine I want to attain. Personally, my son's coming here for spring break, and I hope that. No, I don't want to say that. I was going to say I want him to live with his dad, but I don't want. Whatever he wants, I want. So I'll take that out. But he's coming here, and I'm excited for that. And I'm going to do 2 contests. Goal is to get my pro card in bodybuilding. That's what I want to do.
And run a marathon.
No, not interested in marathons.
You can't run.
Don't run. So yeah, just I like the lifestyle. I like being on a schedule. I like detail. I like moderation. I like going without. I like suffering. And I think the epitome of that, the difference, like when I did the project, it's sort of like Navy SEAL. When I did that, I had to just train, do a workout that was contoured towards that. With bodybuilding, it's 24/7. It's what you're consuming. It's what you're doing. It's how you're sleeping. Everything in detail. Where it's just, one's physical, and the training is not hard. No, you guys know bodybuilding. It's isolation. Very simple. It's nothing out of this world, but it's 24/7. That's the difference.
That's how it comes into the mental aspect.
Mental.
That
100%
discipline.
mental.
Yeah.
I dropped 40 pounds and dying of hunger and not eating that one French fry, not doing that when all the desserts were out there.
They were bringing in desserts every
They were bringing
freaking
desserts.
day for a while.
I'm a dessert person. Let's be real. And I'm walking past that stuff.
The last like 3 months, there was like every single week.
Yeah.
My favorite thing was watching Mark over here open the box of cookies and smell them.
Yeah. I would open, check this out. This is a true story. He's right. I would open the box of cookies, totally rude, smell it, never been opened, smell it, put it back down.
Yeah.
Open up the box of donuts, open it up, smell it, sometimes get a napkin, pick one up, smell it, put it back. Totally rude.
You don't want this dude in your office at all.
But yeah, just
Picked his nose, wiped the booger on the
and
donut.
then another thing regarding this, in my feeds, not now, I was just getting food.
Yeah.
I was thinking about food 24/7. I was talking about food to my girl. She would stop talking about food. I was getting street vendors come in there, different restaurants. It was just food, and just like staying to the plan and
Right.
not succumbing to it. Oh my God, mentally, I just built a calluses for just like I'm focused. Boom, that's my objective. Boom,
Right.
block everything out. It wasn't easy, but it's like it was one of the harder things I've done, and I want to do it 2 times.
Yeah, you
I
look
wanna become
freaking
pro.
great. Those photos, you look fucking phenomenal.
I won my class, but I got smoked in the open, so I loved it because, oh shit, I can get that much better.
You got
I
to blast
need
a
to
little
be
bit more
better.
training.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, true. But
Some
just
D-ball.
I need to be that much better, so there's always room for improvement.
That's where we splice in. What was your cycle like? Oh, nothing crazy. A little trend, a little D-ball. Just
I
the
get
usual.
those feeds all the time. A little this, a little that. Yeah, that was Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah, Ronnie Coleman. There we
Like
go.
it's normal.
Yeah,
It's natural.
just the usual, right?
Just the usual, just D-ball, test, da-da-da,
Yeah.
da-da-da. Yes,
Crazy.
I love that. Yeah, just, da-da-da-da-da. So, but it was a great experience, and
Sam getting big, doing a little bit of triceps.
the only thing natural on him is his hat.
Yeah.
That was crazy. But I love it. I love the lifestyle. I like it. I just got to do better with my personal relationships, like girlfriend-wise, because they need time. Regardless of how the hell I feel, regardless, I just got to be better because, you had your moods.
Right.
And I did the best I could at the time, but now I know, hey, I got to be better. She needs time. And when you're not eating at a calorie deficit, all you want to do is nap, sleep. So when I left here, it was like, okay, workout, nap. And then she would come in, and I'm laying down. I'm telling her to be quiet.
Yeah. I mean, you gave her a warning though. Like, it's not like you're just being a dick. Like, you told her like, hey, I'm gonna get cranky. Like,
She said I didn't do that bad, but I caught myself. I
Yeah.
caught myself. I was like, oh, God, I should be better.
yeah.
Be
No.
better.
I mean, I know what you're feeling. I'm couldn't wait for the fights. It's like, dude, it's rough.
Yeah, that's right.
Everything smells good. Starving yourself. You're just so short on temper.
Mm-hmm.
You want to
Yeah.
snap at times. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
No.
I'm glad I'll never have to experience that.
Oh, it shows. No offense.
But offense.
Boom, boom, boom.
We already touched on everything with the market. There's nothing much that
Well, someone bought a home, their second home. I wasn't involved in transaction. None of us were involved in transaction. And it was through family members, and they had an agent which worked directly with the family on multiple deals or whatever the case might be. And this is what I stress is, and I asked him how his experience was. It was, his exact words were, it was horrible. It was horrible. And the one that really, kept the deal together and glued the deal together was Sergio. Big Surge. So
one of our preferred lenders.
One of our preferred lenders. So why I'm saying this is because he had a bad experience, and this goes out for all the buyers out there when choosing a buyer's agent. It's very, very, very important that you do choose the right agent. Take your time. Come in contact with multiple agents. Look them up online. There's multiple things. He had a horrible experience, and I don't want to speak on his behalf, but if the lender was anything like the agent, I don't know if the deal even would have closed. Speaking to him, I'm not even sure about that, but it really makes a huge difference. And when I spoke to him, he's like, "Yeah, I can see why." He watched a video when I said, "Really, an agent is going to take your time, interview, because it can be a bad experience with the wrong agent."
Right.
And
the lender and the agent have never worked with each other, so they were green. And when you got to watch out when you're an agent on what you tell your clients, because you don't know if that client knows that agent, right? Mm-hmm. It so happens that this agent and this client or this lender and the client were very close. The agent was talking a little smack about the lender to the client,
right,
not knowing that they have a great relationship, and that's gonna go back. And again, building relationships, knowing how to handle things, taking accountability for the screw ups you have, and again, having a good team, a lender and agent that work together multiple times. Mm-hmm. That's why we have preferred lenders. That's why we have people that we trust with deals. I know it seems like, what is it called? What is it called? The quid pro quo? Did I say it right?
Quid pro quo.
Right, where we're scratching each other's back, and it may seem like we're giving each other kickbacks, and it sounds really salesy. I know a guy, I have a preferred lender. I know it sounds salesy, but there's a reason why that we work with preferred lenders, and we don't necessarily like to try business with new lenders, is because we know when a dude could get something done. We know if a dude or a lady could get something done. And that's what matters at the end of the day, is the client getting either buying or selling, right? So that's why we don't like to go outside of maybe our echo chamber when it comes to our business. It's not because we're getting kickbacks or anything like that, anything shady. It's because, there may be some shady stuff going on. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but having that connection with a lender like Sergio that I've done multiple deals with is huge. I know how he works, he knows how I work. We can always pick each other up. Hey, I'll call you back in a few minutes, and we'll both try to find a solution instead of just throwing crap behind someone's back and it's going to get back to them.
Right. And I want to say this too, in the whole thing of real estate, so you can better understand this, is regarding the deal closing, it's really a lot to do with the lender.
Huge.
Closing
as soon as you get an escrow.
Yes. Where the agent comes in is fighting for you, meaning number one is the price and what you buy, what repairs are going to get done,
right,
making sure things are going to get done. And that's why I believe my clients choose me, is because I'm a hell of a bulldog in regards to fighting for my clients to squeeze out everything I can out of that buyer,
right,
which in return will benefit my seller.
Right.
And that goes from negotiating from the very beginning all throughout.
Correct.
Now, closing the deal, it's going to be the buyer's lender that's actually going to close the deal, going to fund it. But I am going to do everything in my power to benefit my seller at all costs.
Right.
And that is why I'm explaining to you, when you choose a buyer agent, you want a buyer agent that's going to do the same for you.
That invests in the skills, that wants to build relationships, and that isn't willing to sacrifice their integrity just to smear someone else.
Yeah, integrity. And it just says, regarding the individual on that particular thing, there's no accountability. Fess up to what you did. I do it all the time. That was my bad. My bad. With my clients, if it's my bad, hear me out on this one. If this is because with my clients, I kind of dictate the counter. I have heavy influence on the price.
Right.
But if I miss something, a credit or anything, where's that money coming from?
You.
Me.
I've heard you multiple times where you've messed up on deals and you pushed a buyer too hard and they canceled, and you're like, you know what, I didn't think they were going to cancel. That's my fault. This is all me.
Absolutely.
And I've heard you multiple times. And you do get nervous. You still sweat a little. You get a little bubble guts, right? It happens, right?
It happens.
No matter how long you've been in the business, and I've heard you in those conversations multiple times. But taking that accountability is huge.
Yeah.
You lead the team by example in doing that.
Right.
For
And there's
for
awkward
sure.
silence in the other thing. You hear me talking, it's awkward silence, but
Yeah.
it is, the reality is, I effed up. I'm a human being. I did. But own it. Own it.
But you have way more wins than you have losses. So.
Oh, yeah. No, so it's all that matters.
Our second podcast. Everybody, thank you guys for joining us. Mark, Gabe, Adrian with the SoCal Properties team. We'll see you next time.